Don't starve is not hard, but what if we made it harder? What if there was a way to make the game so hard you would die in 2 seconds? What if there was a way to make the game really uncompromising?
Hey guys, welcome to the full release of Don't Starve.
But what if I want to play with my friends? Okay, you already saw the thumbnail and title, let's just talk about it. Don't Starve Uncompromising Mod. A mod made by a bunch of people over the years, spearheaded by scrimbles. Well, not anymore, but we'll get into that. That basically makes the game a little more harder. And that's what the video is. It's just a little review and kind of a playthrough of the game. Looking at all the new things it added and sharing my thoughts on the whole thing. Before we start, let me give you a quick backstory on why I wanted to make this video in the first place. So, a long time ago, I made a crappy little video where I played with 100 different mods, and Uncompromising was one of them. When I was playing through it, I was shocked to see that everything in the game became annoying. Of course, I don't remember what exactly was so annoying about it, but that left a very sour taste in my mouth over the years. A year or so ago, a guy that I hate with every single fiber of my body had joined the Uncompromising team to make some art or whatever, and it reminded me of the first time I had ever played that mod. I thought to myself, is Uncompromising really that bad? Yes, it is. Of course it is. It's just a mod that makes everything hard for no reason. So I started playing through it and realized maybe I was wrong. And here we have the reason why I'm making this video. To show you guys that maybe this isn't as bad as you think. Or maybe it is, and there will always be people that hate Uncomp for no reason. Okay, well, let's start at the complete beginning by installing the mod, looking at all the cool art. This looks like a professionally made mod. Just look at the amount of people listed. And oh my goodness, the art. Well done to Forthless for the art. It's amazing. After installing the mod and enabling it, we can look at all the features it has to offer. Oh, there are so many toggleable options. Why? Most of them are disabled by default anyway. If you wanted to add a feature and then have an option to disable it, no one will use that feature because why would they? I know some people would like the option of making things more difficult, but this is like Don't Starve making a sanity mechanic and then having people on the forums ask it to be a toggleable feature. Maybe some of these options are things that didn't work out while testing, or made the game so annoying that they had to have an option to disable it. Who wants to have their cane have durability, or clothing become worse over time? What is this, Minecraft? But really, this isn't an issue at all. It could be cool to have a challenge where everything was on the hardest setting, or maybe it would make it completely annoying and not fun to play. Well, now it's your choice. And now it's time to choose our characters. All the characters, except from like Wilson, have been changed. Certain skill trees have also been changed, and some perks have been changed too. And as you can see, we have 3 new characters. Most of the characters have been nerfed in some parts and buffed in others. Willow's Bernie is a lot better, and she has the ability of getting rid of the really stupid smog mechanic. Wolfgang has been changed back to his previous rework, with him being able to use special abilities with his mightiness instead of him getting extra damage from that mightiness. Which means we finally have that one fat ass back. Wendy does less damage even if Abigail is fighting something. WX is now overpowered. Thank you girls for that. Wicker has gotten 2 buck buffs. Wow. And the rest are useless. That's amazing, isn't it? Woody hasn't really changed. Neither has Wes. Maxwell will no longer be broken OP, please nerf. His shadow duelists are even worse. His cage is much worse. And he can now go back to the single player Maxwell with summonable shadow sword and nightmare armor, whatever. And that would be cool if it didn't break if you had lag compensation turned to on. And this isn't reversible either, so you either play Maxwell good version or Maxwell bad version. Wigfrid now has a driving license, but all of her special crafts have all been nerfed. Weber is still useless. Winona now gets even more hungrier, but now can craft some chargers that can make items even better, although her catapults have been nerfed greatly. Warley is even more annoying, but now has a small chance of getting extra meat from killing mobs. Wow, very interesting. Wormwood is Wormwood, and he's been slightly buffed. Wartox heals less, and it's harder to get souls. Walter has been completely butchered, and there's no reason to play him anymore. Unless you want to babysit a dog all day and have the ability of having shadow minions, but worse. Wander is still pretty good, although her clocks have been nerfed a bit. And now we get into the modded characters. I'm not talking about Watham. I think that's how you pronounce his name, is a risk-reward character and does a lot of damage, but takes a lot of damage. Instead of doing normal attacks like a normal person, he has to be hyper and attack by leaping over his targets. He has night vision, which is pretty cool, and he can go into super mode by getting really hyper on the monster energy drinks. He looks very fun to play, but I didn't play him because I want to play on my Beefalo. Winky is a joke character. That's it. They're fast, but weak. Their only purpose in this mod was to make fun of other mods that just add speed, but then have their health set to like 70 or something. Which means this character will never ever get played, and their special craft is now in base Don't Starve. Isn't that great, guys? Isn't that cool? The Don't Starve team have just made the modded character, but in vanilla. That's so cool, guys. And the last one, Wixie. This character is Walter, but better. Instead of Walter having his slingshot, now Wixie has it. She has a lot more ammo to work with, but gets stunned by being claustrophobic, which is annoying, but you can shove enemies away, I guess. To be honest, I didn't play her, although she would be cool while riding a Beefalo. Wait, hold on, I just got a phone call. Looks like she gets stunned if she rides a Beefalo. Amazing. So after all of this talk, who did I choose? Wigford, because I'm a filthy pleb that likes Beefalos. And speaking of Beefalos, when I first played this, I played on a Beefalo, and I didn't know that they changed the Beefalos so that if it were to take damage, you take 50% of that damage, and then the car takes the rest of it. So almost immediately after I got on it, I almost died to a spider. Also, Wigford's damage multiplier is so good on the Beefalo. And do you want to know a secret tech I just found? If you hit stuff with a torch on a Beefalo, did you know that you can attack faster? Let's actually talk about the game instead of the characters I didn't play. For this run, I played with two people I hate the most, and the two people who actually worked on the mod. Forthless the artist and Gearless the coder. The early game of Uncompromising is actually quite similar to Don't Starve Together's, other than some enemies, a set piece, coelephants and them actually having attacks. But healing in the early game is a little more harder now, due to the fact that butterflies do not give you 8 health every time you eat them, but instead they give you minus 4 billion. Hammering pig homes and finding where to base is now a different thing. Pigs will now get angry at you for hammering the house. Even if you kill them and they respawn, they will still be angry. And the worst part is, they will tell their friends that you did that. So if you kill the other pigs around, they will still be angry at you and kill you. Early game this matters a lot, however later, where you can just feed them 400 pieces of meat, it doesn't really matter because they're going to turn into werpigs anyway. That, by the way, don't have a combo system. Thank you very much. Spiders being nerfed so you don't completely rely on them is pretty good, but them having a jump attack that makes killing them so hard when they're grouped together, as all of them will jump you and stun lock you, is awful. The monster morsel's only use is to give it to pigs, and it also counts as 2 monster meat in the crock pot, and 0.5 regular meat, like that counts as anything. You're going to have to use more meat to counteract the monster meat in the recipe. And that's basically it. That's all this mod is. It's cool in some parts and awful in others. Alright, now that we have our entire base down, we decided to kill Queen Bee. Oh, and also a new boss. A new boss that was introduced in the new Hooded Forest Special Uncomp biome. Now, let me explain to you why Queen Bee is good and the other thing is garbage. The fight with Queen Bee in regular Don't Starve is either super resource intensive or super boring with 2 other people. But in Uncompromising, they reworked her a lot. Almost like she's a real boss with different attacks, different patterns, and different phases. I love the fact that this entire fight is not just press F on your keyboard. Instead, it's something more like Enter the Gungeon, Suicide Bees, and even having to change where to attack her due to her summoning protective bees. Wait, hold on, what's this? The bee gun from Terraria? Well, yes, Uncomp adds new weapons, armor, and stuff like that you can only access by being cursed by this idiot. And all the curse really does is you take more damage. To be honest, a lot of things that are dropped are too resource intensive or too awful, as in underpowered. The gun fires bees that you get from punching beehives. These bees will attack the thing you're firing at, only doing 15 damage when firing, and 10 damage from each bee. It's basically just the Wickerbottom book before it was turned into sludge. And speaking of slop and sludge, the Hooded Forest. Listen, I know this mod is made by a bunch of people that really like this game, and they are not as talented as the official Clay devs, but this biome just sucks. The art is awful, the boss is awful, the loot is awful, the mobs are weird, and they're useless. I know this biome is supposed to add variety to the game by replacing the boring, dull forest. But do you really have to make it look like this? This isn't Hamlet. This is some random piece of island with evergreen trees and harsh winters, not the Amazon rainforest. I don't even see why you would even want to go there, other than the boss. We'll get into that, by the way. The pitcher plants do nothing. The fruit bat does nothing other than make honey sometimes. The aphids are probably the most useful mob in there, as they drop steel wool without having to kill the snot-nosed beefalo. Although that isn't saying much, because you only need steel wool for one thing in the entire mod. But they have a complex life cycle! Yeah, I know, real cool. The life cycle of the bats eating the bugs. Wow, so cool. That doesn't make them more useful. Did you know that lure worms have a complex life cycle too? And no, before you think this is a straw man argument, Forthless said the exact same thing. They just threw random pieces of garbage into a biome to make it look useful. Like this scrapped enemy. What does he do? He gives you fertilizers for farms for some reason, and that's it, that's all he does. I haven't even gotten to the Hooded Widow. This massive waste of resources and time is the worst boss I have ever gotten my displeasure of fighting. From this footage, it doesn't look so bad. But 1, I was on my beefalo the entire time. 2, we had 3 people. When I was just by myself and gearless, we had to roll back so many times just to get 8 pieces of meat and 2 gears. First, the art is crap. The icon on the map shouldn't be the boss's head. That's not how map icons work in DST. The entire thing is just a reskinned Spider Queen, but big. Which means the animations like the sleeping animation look so off. She's about to explode. But that's just how it looks. The attacks are awful too. Her regular attack is basically just a massive AoE around herself. So even if you're behind her and she's attacking someone, she will still hit you. Her jump attack is unpredictable because it looks like she's about to do her regular attack because the animation was done by a 16-year-old. Her other attack when she's not in the second phase is that she can spit webs at you. And these things are unfair as hell. They don't damage you, but they pull you in and destroy your armor. I have an 80% helmet here, and she just obliterated it because I'm just not allowed to play the game for some reason. At second phase, she just can't move until she can. And then after that, she has a combo attack that is just her 3 normal attacks chained together. And if you get hit by even one of them, she's going to be able to attack again right after. So basically this strat is to wait out the attack, right? Well, yes, she does get stunned right after she misses all of her attacks, but only sometimes. This attack sucks so much ass, because you never know if she's doing the normal attack or just a combo attack. And if she is doing her combo attack, you'll take 400 damage. And after all of that, you receive this. Amazing. Well, I mean, it's okay, I guess. You get some meat, an early walking cane if RNG is good, and sometimes you get a Krampus sack, which is cool. But I cannot state how much I despise this boss. All of her attacks are awful Her loot is awesome at best, and doggy doo-doo at worst. And she's just a reskin of the Spider Queen. She's buggy, she's in the hooded forest, and you know I hate that place. I mean, I don't even have a reason to go there other than the steel wool and the boss itself, like I said before. And look at that, we have that balance again of the mod giving you something really cool and something really bad that makes you want to punch your face in. Oh, hold on guys, I need to play Deadlock real quick. Okay, cool. Looks like we set up base while I was complaining. And we have all of our essentials. The chest, the crock pot, the icebox, the wardrobe. The wardrobe? Why would you want to do that? So you could show off your pay-to-win skins? No, it can now store a bunch of usable items,
which I really like.
Because instead of putting all of these on the floor, you can now put them in a totally safe, balanced storage chester mod. But why do we need this? Is it because all of us have ADHD? No, it's because Scrimbles has ADHD and it forces you to clean the base, otherwise these idiots will come out of nowhere and steal a bunch of your stuff. And if you try to fight them, they'll take away your max health. To get these items back, you're gonna need to go to a specific place with a specific hat, and you're going to have to spend your entire day looking for them. I really like the idea of rats, but I hate the fact that you're forced to play a specific way to avoid them. You can't have rot in your chest, and you can't have a bunch of items on the floor just because you don't want to sort anything. The rats feel like Krampus, but worse. Krampus already punishes the player for having items on the floor, but only if the player forces themselves to spawn Krampus, while rats force the player to not spawn them. Because unlike Krampus, these guys don't drop anything good. They're just a waste of time and resources. And like I said, I like the rats, but there is already a better rat in regular DST that doesn't force you to play a certain way. Oh yeah, we also killed Dragonfly and the twins, and Dragonfly was fine, and yeah. All they did for Dragonfly is remove the fact that you can just sit in a box. And they did make the twins cool. The things you get from Dragonfly are really cool now. The armor spawns followers that help you out, and the chest is OP please nerf. And that's basically all we did during autumn. 18 minutes into the video, and that's all we did. Wow, that's incredible. But I do want to talk about some stuff before we move on to winter. I want to talk about the food and healing in this mod. I didn't really need healing in this playthrough, as I was Wigfrid and I had a Beefalo. However, I want to say that the healing over time mechanic sucks. I know you don't want people just to heal tank every boss, but the thing is you probably need more resources doing that than just fighting it normally. Before the latest patch that we were on, I had a rage meltdown on how fish sticks were nerfed both in healing and in terms of making them. You had to use more than one fish value, and you couldn't use monster meat in it. So the recipe was completely useless. Well, now it's back to normal, like in Base Don't Starve, and you have to wonder why. Why were the healing salves better than fish sticks? Healing salves that take ash, rocks, and a spider gland, and on top of that they did the same amount of healing, but healing salves were just faster, as they didn't have that stupid healing over time thing. You know what the best healing food is? Well, it's none other than the newly added steamed hams. One fern, one cactus, one meat, and some random slop you find in the back of your fridge. This is so entirely easy to make, and guess how much it heals? 40 health. The same as a pierogi. And you may be saying, well, who cares? Pierogi is still easy to make. Wrong! If you feed the stupid bird monster meat, you get monster eggs, which still can be used in pierogies, but you have to use a full meat to counterbalance the monster value. So what would you rather make, the modded OP food or the pierogi? Making food in Uncomp is a lot more tedious as well, as you have to just rely on big meat and nothing else. Monster meat is practically useless, as you need regular meat to make something other than monster lasagna. I did say it was good that you no longer had to rely on spiders, but that has a consequence of you just not really going out to kill them anymore. If you get monster meat, you get it, and you might as well use it. It doesn't matter. For us, it wasn't really that much of a problem anyway, because Forthless gave us 4 billion pounds of ham. Anyways, winter. This hasn't really changed that much other than the annoying snow piles that spawn. They sometimes will even spawn a mob that will attack you, and the mob is just a reskin of the giant grub from Hamlet. Also, they have snowstorms, but they don't really do that much. I mean, they do make you slow, I guess, but I was on a beefalo, so it didn't really matter. During winter, we killed Deerclops and Claws. Deerclops now has 3 variants. The one that we got was the combo one, and probably the most easiest one. But there's also Feastclops and the mage one, I guess. I don't really know how to describe them well, because they just surround you in ice and freeze you a bunch. I like this a lot. The boss is the same, the drops are the same, but you have a random chance of getting a different fight each time you go against the tutorial boss. Claws didn't get that much of a change either, but at least he was still fun. Oh, speaking of reskins with the giant grub, almost everything in this mod is a reskin. Everything, almost, is just a reskin of Hamlet, Shipwrecked, or another mob in Don't Starve Together. But you can't really blame the Uncomp team, even if the art could be a little bit better. They are still limited by the modding tools. Clay doesn't use Spriter to make their assets. Instead, they use Adobe Animate with a plugin that converts their animations to game files. I'm gonna make another video on this, so I'm not gonna go into too much detail right now. Plus, the entirety of the Uncomp devs are just unpaid interns. They are just very passionate people that work on the game. And not to mention, there are a bunch of people in this project, so some things may be lower quality than others. Luckily, Forthless's art is really good, so at least we can count on that. Oh, look at that, we're almost done with winter. Wow, winter sure was very fun. Whatever, let me talk about max health now. For some reason, this mod has a hyper fixation on max health. You get hungry, max health. You get cold, max health. You get too hot, max health. You take too much damage, you guessed it, you die. You don't take max health from that, but you do take a bunch of max health damage from reviving, because life-giving amulets are useless now. There's no point in using them, so you either use a telltale heart or you use a touchstone. I mean, you could also use a meat effigy, but no one uses that, like nobody. Unless you're playing solo. The mod has also made it so getting max health back is a lot easier. If your max health is lost below 25%, you can just sleep it off. But more than that, you have to either use a brine bomb or a healing shot. Brine bombs are really annoying to get, as you need salt and seaweed, or you can get 6 red caps, which is also annoying, but not as much. To be honest, I don't really know how else you would make starving or getting cold or hot even harder. Maybe slowing the player? I mean, as long as we have the amazing tent buff, it having more uses and restoring more health and sanity and such, I'm fine with losing my max health every time I forget to press the meaty stew in my inventory, okay? It's fine. And it's spring. Wait! I forgot about the new boss that Uncomp added. That's right, we have a new boss that has a cryptic ARG attached to it. And because it has really weird steps to summon it, it must mean that this is the final boss? Well, kind of. When I was first described this boss, I was told that this was very difficult, and we had to prepare a lot for it. Well, as soon as we got to summoning it, actually, you know what, just hear my reaction to it.
Just way too early.
No, I was dying from hunger.
The time has come. Oh, okay. Everything is...
Look at the clock.
Okay, wardrobe is... Oh!
Bro.
Big C.
Is that funny? What do you have to do? What do you have to do?
We just have to dodge
Oh my
attacks.
god!
Yeah.
Oh
No.
my god!
Hit the child! Hit the child!
Of course!
Oh, no, 2 of them.
Of course! Oh my god! Hold on, guys. Oh
Hit the
my
child!
God. How do you avoid her attack?
So this entire Uncomp ARG led to the girl in a wardrobe. I was so surprised at this that I couldn't stop laughing. Like, I thought this would be some big horror monster, but no, it was just a Walter Reskin girl. But now, with an extra filter. This boss could be pretty difficult. Unfortunately, we had 3 other people, so it was a piece of cake. The ARG was actually kind of styled like the old ARGs you would see in DST. But I'm not gonna get into that. Why? Because this isn't a lore video. The drops are alright too. Again, I don't care because I'm on a beefalo. Okay, time to talk about spring. We killed Moose Goose, then we killed Goose Moose, then we went to the ruins. For some reason, there are two Moose Gooses. One that randomly spawns around the world, and the second one just spawning on you. I think they are both just the same fight, but one of them now has a tornado attack when it attacks you. When I was fighting the first Moose Goose, I didn't know that it would spawn little lightnings around you. So I was complaining through the entire fight that the lightnings were randomly happening while I was fighting it. I was really confused about it until Gearless told me that it was the Moose Goose's fault. Oops. These guys don't really drop anything cool. Anyways, the ruins. They were very hectic because Forthless kept going insane from crafting too many things. And because of the new mobs. The pawns have to be the worst thing on the entire planet. If you go near them, they trap you in a cage, spawn combine clockworks around you, and then run away. You can kill them, but what's the point when you could just go around them? Oh yeah, also there is this weird looking cat that kept following us. When we got to the maze where the ancient guardian is, we had to bring an ice staff because of all the pawns. The pawns in the labyrinth would run at you, like in a FNAF game, and explode on you, dealing 200 damage. And doing any amount of damage to them makes them explode. And you know, this might not sound like a bad thing. All you have to do is click on the pawn using your mouse, then your character will go near them and just kill them. But because DST has stupid pathfinding, and due to you being in the labyrinth, you will get stuck in webbing and spawn. Because I didn't want to do it, Forthless did it instead, and all we had to do was stand around waiting for him to defuse the bomb while we scratched our asses. Well, at least the Ancient Guardian was okay. The fight did change a bit, but nothing really important. And I'm saying this because we killed him too quickly for him to do any of the new attacks. The other one. He's supposed to summon a shadow. You know what, I'm just gonna have Gearless say it.
No harm.
Not even a heart attack.
What heart attack? What heart
He
attack? What?
spawns a heart that has a shield. You have to destroy the heart before you.
Oh yeah, you told me last time, and I was like, whoa.
So anyway, yeah, Spring has this tornado thing, which is annoying. Wait, I just realized a bunch of this stuff in Uncomp is unintentionally annoying. Like, I know you're trying to make things more difficult, but the way you do it is, what if we added a mob that does 200 damage to you, and then the only way to circumvent it is by using a boomerang? This tornado just makes you wet, and you have to avoid it, otherwise you will be swept up in the air or something. And to avoid it, all you have to do is run away from base for like 2 minutes and then go back. Amazing gameplay. Imagine if Shipwrecked had a tornado that instead of being a boss, it would just be something that ran around the map, not affecting you for like 18 days, until it randomly appeared in your base, and you just had to stand there waiting for it to pass. Spring shouldn't really have anything too hard added to it, even if the tornado isn't really hard at all, as it's designed to be a cool down season after winter, allowing you to prepare for summer. Oh, did you know that Spring had hay fever before it was removed? I'm glad they removed it because hay fever shouldn't be combined with another season. It should be its own separate season. Actually, I wanted to talk about some stuff in the old versions of Uncomp. Of course, this doesn't represent what the devs want to do now, yada yada yada, whatever. Okay, but why does this spider have a gun? It probably doesn't mean anything. I definitely think this was a joke. However, why is Corvus dead? I remember Gearless telling me that they wanted to kill Corvus just because Scrimbles didn't like them. Killing him would give you like a feather hat reskin, that's just Corvus's hat. Unfortunately, they couldn't do it because removing him from the game would crash it randomly. This guy doesn't even do anything, let him be. Next, we have some animations of pigmen being thrashed around, and this looks very janky. Like, imagine walking around and just seeing this in Don't Starve. We got a reskin of a blue mushroom guy, who cares? We have 2 unfinished half-baked ideas. And after all of this, we actually have a cool looking boss that was supposed to be the replacement for the second Moose Goose that we had, and even had minions that would be summoned. But I'm pretty sure they're just a reskin of the Birchnut guards. But still, they look pretty cool, and would be 100 times better than a reskin of the Moose Goose. After that, we got another cool mob called the Shambler. Looks like Maxwell and probably was another shadow monster. monster. It has cool looking designs, it has a cool attack. I can't really say anything else other than it's really cool, and I don't know why this wasn't implemented. I mean, it has all the animations it needs, and the mod already adds like 100 new nightmares anyway. Kinda disappointing, and I'm saying this because after this we got trash. We have a bunch of Uncomp reskins, we got this pig that probably was a joke, and last of all, we have a toad that is probably the most ugliest thing I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, what is this even supposed to do? Is this supposed to replace the frogs in the pond? Or is this some kind of joke like, oh, we put naked toadstool into the game? Actually, I just found out they were in the game, and their entire purpose was to defend mushrooms that would cause acid rain. So these ugly bastards would actually do something. Uncomp Team, I know you're planning to add these things, but don't. Please. I beg you. I don't want to see this thing. Alright, just start from scratch. Also, look at this cool fan art I made of the Ram Ranch. So yeah, Spring, did you know that they added hot rain? Summer! Yippee! We killed Toadstool, nothing changed about that. We did the moon event, killed Dragonfly, and complained about smog. Oh, I guess Nightmare Werepig was there too. At this time, we got the Super Magma Hounds that do 70 damage to you because of an oversight, where your Beefalo would take damage from the fire, and you would also take damage from the fire, resulting in 70 damage done to you in just one attack. Also, the Magma Hound would burn things around you, which turns into smog that you can't go in for like 2 days until it clears, otherwise you would take max damage. And you might be wondering why we killed Dragonfly again. Well, you see in Uncomp, Dragonfly roams around the world like it's Don't Starve solo and barfs all over the place. But because it does that, it creates smog. So even if you start fighting, you will already take max health damage unless you go into an empty field. And because this is Uncomp, they gave Dragonfly an extra attack where she runs around everywhere, turning everything into ash, which makes more smog. Oh, I love smog so much. I love smelling smog. But if you run away where the smog is, Dragonfly will piss off and start polluting the earth. After you kill it, it doesn't give you anything cool. That's it, that's all we did. But we also did kill Crab King and did Pearl's Quest, but I don't think anybody cares about that. I have one more thing to talk about, and that's Scrimbles themselves. Scrimbles has recently stopped working on Uncomp due to them hating the way Don't Starve updates are going, and them hating the base game more and more. They themselves have said, I have been struggling with trying to continue a project for a game I have grown to hate, for a company who has lost its ability to care, and then said that they haven't played a single game of Don't Starve over the past year and a half. Now, I'm not hating on them, but maybe you just don't like the game. Yes, you did say you like the style and the charm and whatnot, but if you started Uncomp because you didn't like where the game was heading in the first place, and you still don't like it even after all these years, either you built this rage up within a couple of years, or maybe, just maybe, you never liked DST. Like, Scrimbles wanted to kill Corvus! What's the point? It kinda shows that Scrimbles hasn't played the game for a year and a half, adding such stupid features that anyone who actually played the game would say that it was a bad feature. Of course, Uncomp has really good moments and really cool features, which I appreciate. So what the hell am I talking about Scrimbles for? Well, I just wanted to tell you guys, although Clay does sometimes mess up with their updates, and their art definitely has become worse over time, Clay does care about the game. If they didn't, we would have battle passes, loot boxes, and very small updates that add nothing, and we would probably be playing Don't Starve Uncomp by— what? And we would probably be playing Don't Starve New Home by now. Even if Scrimbles thinks that this game has gone downhill and it's bad, it could always get worse. Thanks for watching, thanks to Forthless and Girlless for helping with the video, bye.